My wife left me. But that wasn't the worst part. I never thought I'd be the guy sitting alone at 2 a.m., talking to strangers on the internet about how his marriage fell apart. But here I am. If you're listening to this, just do me a favor and don't judge until you've heard the whole thing. It all started on a random Thursday. The kind of day where everything feels normal, maybe even a little boring. I got home from work around 6. The house was quiet, too quiet. Usually, my wife Jess would be in the kitchen by then, humming something off-key while she burned another casserole. But that night, there was no sound, just the soft hum of the fridge and the ticking of the wall clock. I called out her name. No answer. Then I saw it. The dining table. Set for 2. Candles. Real ones. Not the electric kind we usually use when we're pretending to be fancy. A bottle of wine unopened. Her favorite playlist was playing on low from the speaker in the corner. And there she was, sitting at the table, hands folded in her lap, wearing the blue dress she hadn't touched since our honeymoon. And right then, I knew something was wrong. She looked up at me like I was a stranger. "Hey," I said cautiously. "Sit," she replied. No kiss, no smile, just sit. So I did. We sat there in silence for what felt like an hour. She finally poured the wine, and I noticed her hands were trembling. I reached out instinctively. She pulled back. That's when the pit in my stomach turned into a full-blown black hole. And then, without warning, she said, "I've been seeing someone." Boom. Just like that. No build-up. No warning signs. No arguments. No fights. Not even the textbook "we've grown apart" crap. Just 6 words that felt like a sledgehammer to the chest. "I've been seeing someone." Now, let me make something clear. Jess was the kind of woman people stared at. Not because she was flashy or loud, but because she had this quiet, magnetic energy. She made you feel like you were the only person in the room. And for 7 years, I really thought I was. I stared at her, trying to find anything. A smirk, a flinch, some sign that this was a twisted joke. But there was nothing. Just tears brimming in her eyes and that same blue dress that once meant forever. "Who?" I asked, barely above a whisper. She looked down. It doesn't matter. Like hell it didn't. But I didn't press. I couldn't. I felt like if I said one more word, I'd vomit right there at the table. I stood up, pushed my chair back slowly, trying to keep some dignity, whatever was left of it. I walked into the kitchen and leaned against the counter, staring at the floor like it had answers. She followed me in. "I didn't plan to fall in love with him," she said, voice cracking. "It just happened." I wanted to scream, throw something, punch a wall. But instead, I asked, "Do I know him?" Silence. I looked up. That silence said everything. And just like that, the whole narrative of my life shattered. Because if I knew him, if he was someone close, this wasn't just betrayal. It was war. She wasn't the one who made the first move. I didn't respond at first, because my brain refused to compute that sentence. What the hell was he talking about? She wasn't the one. I stared at Derek like he just spoke in another language. "You made the first move?" I finally asked, my voice shaking more than I wanted it to. He nodded, slowly, like he was ashamed, like he didn't even want to say it out loud. "It was a mistake," he said. "I was going through a lot. You remember that stretch after my dad passed?" I wasn't thinking clearly. Jess came over to check on me. "You had the flu or something and couldn't make it." I remembered. I remember Jess packing a Tupperware of soup and insisting she check on him since I was out of it. It felt normal at the time. Thoughtful, even. She always worried about the people I cared about. But now it all felt like part of a script I hadn't read. "Nothing happened that night," Derek continued. "Not then. But something changed. Between us. I felt it. She did too." I stepped back like his words were physically hitting me. "I trusted you," I said. "You were like family." I know, man. That's why I'm here. I'm not trying to justify anything. Are you in love with her?" I cut him off. He hesitated. And that hesitation told me everything. "Jesus Christ," I muttered, running a hand through my hair. "She didn't want to hurt you," he said. "She kept trying to end it." But I wouldn't let her. I was selfish. The worst part, I believed him. Because Jess was many things, but cruel wasn't one of them. She was soft-hearted to a fault. The kind of person who stayed in bad situations too long just to avoid hurting someone. It made sense that she'd get caught in something like this and not know how to get out. But that didn't make it any easier. "You need to leave," I said, my voice low. "Please, just listen," he begged. "I didn't come here to make excuses. I came here because something's not right." I narrowed my eyes. "What do you mean?" He swallowed hard. Looked like he was choosing his next words carefully. "She's been off," he said, "since she moved in with me. She doesn't sleep. She talks in her sleep sometimes, and it's always the same name." I felt my stomach turn. "What name?" He looked at me and said, "Yours." There was a silence after that, one that made my skin crawl. "Sometimes," he continued, "she wakes up crying, and she says she made a mistake. That she should have told you everything. That she had no choice. No choice." I repeated. "I thought maybe it was guilt," he said. "But now, I'm not so sure." "What are you saying, Derek?" He hesitated again. Looked me dead in the eye. "I think there's something you don't know. Something bigger than this." I scoffed. "Like what?" "She's already wrecked our marriage. What the hell could be bigger than that?" He pulled out his phone, swiped through his photos, and handed it to me. What I saw made my heart drop into my stomach. It was a picture of Jess taken from across the street. It looked like she was standing outside some building I didn't recognize. But it wasn't the location that got me. It was the man standing next to her. Middle-aged, wearing a suit, hand on her back like he owned her. And she was smiling. But it wasn't the smile she gave me. It was fake, controlled, like she was performing. "Who the hell is that?" I asked. Derek looked at me and said, "I don't know. But I followed her there last week. And she's been going every Thursday." I looked at the building in the background. The sign above the door. It wasn't a restaurant or an office. It was a clinic. And that's when the dread fully set in. Because Jess never told me she was sick or that she was hiding anything medical. But suddenly it all clicked. The erratic behavior. The nights she cried alone in the bathroom. The guilt. The silence. And just like that, the story I thought I knew started to unravel. Because maybe, just maybe, this wasn't just about infidelity. Maybe it was about something much, much darker. You ever have that moment when time slows down? Like your brain just refuses to process what's happening because it hurts too much to make sense of it? That was me, standing in my kitchen, gripping the countertop like it was the only thing keeping me upright, while my wife stood there in that stupid blue dress, silent. Not denying it. Not confirming it. Just silent. And I knew I knew him. The moment stretched on until finally I said it. His name. Derek. I swear to God, the way her face crumpled when I said it, like I just reached into her chest and ripped out what was left of her soul. That was my confirmation. No words needed. Derek was my best friend. My best man at our wedding. He was the kind of guy everyone liked. Charismatic. Charming. A little too smooth for his own good, but he always kept a respectful distance from Jess. Or so I thought. He helped me move into the house. He knew where we kept the spare key. He brought over beer and takeout on game nights. He was like a brother to me. And now he was sleeping with my wife. "You need to go," I said coldly. "Right now." Jess tried to speak, but I was done listening. The weight of everything hit me at once, and I just couldn't look at her anymore. She packed a small bag and left. No dramatic exit, no sobbing, no slamming of the door. Just a gone. And the moment she walked out, the silence became unbearable. That was the worst part. Not the betrayal. Not even the anger. It was the absence. The absence of her laugh echoing down the hall. The absence of her half-drunk coffee mug on the counter. The absence of our life ripped away like pages from a book someone decided wasn't worth finishing. I didn't sleep that night. Didn't eat the next day. Didn't answer texts. Just sat there, surrounded by all the things we bought together. The couch we fought over in the store. The framed photo of our wedding day on the mantle. Her looking up at me like I hung the damn moon. And then I got a message. Not from her. From Derek. It was short. We need to talk. My hand shook so bad I nearly dropped the phone. I should have blocked him. Should have ignored it. But I couldn't. I needed answers. I needed something. So I texted back. Tomorrow. Noon. My place. Come alone. That next morning felt like waiting for a bomb to go off. I kept pacing, checking clock every 5 seconds, heart racing like I was about to go into a fist fight. At 12:04, he knocked. And when I opened the door, there he was, same smug face, same confident posture. But he looked off, like maybe he hadn't slept either. We stared at each other for a long time. And then, without even sitting down, he said, "It wasn't supposed to happen this way. I wanted to punch him." I really did. But something about the look in his eyes stopped me. Because beneath all that fake calmness, I saw guilt. Deep, soul-rotting guilt. Then how was it supposed to happen? I asked. He looked down. And then he said something that didn't just break my heart. It obliterated it. He said, "She wasn't the one who made the first move." I must have stared at that photo for a full minute without blinking. That clinic sign above the door, bold and cold-looking in the afternoon light, it didn't say anything dramatic. Just a name and a suite number. But it might as well have screamed secrets live here. "You followed her?" I finally asked, handing Derek his phone back. He nodded. "Yeah. I was going crazy, man. The way she started shutting down after moving in with me, it didn't feel like guilt anymore. It felt like she was hiding something. So I followed her. That place, she goes in for about an hour, comes out looking like she's been crying, and then acts like nothing happened. My mind was already running ahead. Jess never told me she was sick. No doctor appointments, no prescriptions, no out-of-the-blue health scares. And we told each other everything. Or so I thought. Derek offered to go back there with me. I told him no. This wasn't his moment. This was mine. The next Thursday, I parked across the street from the clinic at 10:45 a.m. She always went at 11, according to Derek. At exactly 11:02, Jess pulled up. I ducked low in my seat. She looked worn, pale. Her eyes had bags under them like she hadn't slept in days. She walked inside without looking back. My heart was pounding. I waited 10 minutes. Then I got out of the car and crossed the street. I didn't have a plan. I just walked into the clinic past the front desk and straight into the first hallway I could find. A nurse stopped me immediately. "Excuse me, sir. Can I help you?" I froze. I'm looking for someone," I said. Jess Manning. "She's my wife." The nurse's face changed subtly. Something flickered behind her eyes. "I'm sorry, sir. We can't give out patient information." "I'm not asking for information," I said. "I just want to know she's okay." The nurse glanced toward a door at the end of the hall. And then quietly she said, "Wait here." I waited. The seconds stretched into minutes. Then a man in a white coat stepped out. Older, maybe in his late 50s. Serious face. Clipboard in hand. "You're Jess's husband?" he asked. I nodded. He paused for a long moment. Then he motioned for me to follow him into his office. "I probably shouldn't be doing this," he said, closing the door behind us. "But from what I've seen, she needs someone. And it clearly isn't going to be him." "Him?" I asked. "The man she's been coming here with," he said. "Not your friend." "The older man." I felt the room shift. "Who is he?" I asked. He shook his head. "You'd have to ask Jess. All I know is he pays in cash. Every session." "Sessions?" I asked. "This is therapy?" He paused. "No. This is a trauma recovery clinic. We specialize in PTSD, repressed memory therapy, abuse recovery." I felt the air leave the room. "Jess," I whispered. "She's not sick," he said. "Not physically, but emotionally, spiritually. She's carrying something she's never told anyone." "What happened to her?" I asked, my voice shaking. He looked me dead in the eye. "She's trying to forget something. Or someone. But the problem is, she doesn't want to forget you." I left the clinic with my thoughts spinning in every direction. She wasn't cheating for love. She wasn't running because she stopped loving me. She was running from something else, something she thought I couldn't understand. And I realized then she didn't leave me to be with Derek. She left to protect me. That night, I couldn't sleep again. I stared at our wedding photo for hours. Her smile in that picture, it wasn't fake. It was full of love, full of hope. So what happened between that day and today? What broke her? Why did she think I couldn't handle the truth? I texted her the next morning. We need to talk. Not about Derek. Not about us. About you. Please. She didn't reply right away. But later that night, she did. Just tomorrow. 8 p.m. The park where we had our first date. I stared at that message for a long time. Because whatever she was about to tell me, I knew it would change everything. And I wasn't sure if I was ready to hear it. But I was damn sure going. It was raining. Of course it was. The kind of soft, steady rain that doesn't make a scene, just lingers. Soaks through your clothes without you even realizing. Quiet like grief. I got to the park at 7:55. Same place Jess and I had our first date. The same bench under that giant oak tree. Back then, she brought me peanut butter cookies she baked herself. Said she didn't trust restaurants on a first date. I remember thinking she was weird. And absolutely perfect. Now the bench was empty. Until it wasn't. At exactly 8:03, she appeared from the path. Hood up, hair damp, eyes red. She sat down slowly, like every movement hurt. I didn't say anything. Neither did she. We just sat there for a while. Two ghosts sharing a bench. Finally, she broke the silence. I was going to marry you again. That was the first thing she said. I turned to her, confused. I was going to plan a second wedding, she said, voice barely above the rain. Something small. Just us. No guests. No speeches. Just the vows. Real ones. The ones I met the first time but didn't understand yet. Jess, I started, but she held up a hand. Please, let me finish. I owe you that. I nodded. And then she told me. Everything. It started years ago. Before me. Before Derek. She was 19. Living in a different city. Working part-time, barely scraping by. She met a man. Older. Powerful. Charming in that manipulative, slow-burn kind of way. At first, he helped her. Gave her money. Paid for her school books. Told her she was special. Then he started isolating her. Cutting her off from friends. Controlling her schedule. Threatening to take things away. Until one day, he didn't threaten anymore. He just took. Her voice cracked when she told me that. I didn't breathe. Didn't blink. Just sat there, listening to the woman I loved more than anything describe how she'd been broken long before I ever met her. He told me I was his property, she said. That no one would ever believe me. And for a long time, I believed him. I clenched my fists so hard my nails dug into my palms. Then I met you, she said, looking at me with eyes full of a different kind of pain. And for the first time, I felt safe, but also terrified. Because I was waiting for you to turn into him. I shook my head. Jess, I would never. I know, she said. Now I do. But back then, I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust love. She told me she kept it all buried. She thought if she never talked about it, it couldn't hurt her. But trauma doesn't stay buried. It finds cracks. And it seeps in. I started seeing him again, she said. Not by choice. He found me. Showed up outside my job. Said he still owned me. That he could ruin everything. I panicked. She started going to therapy in secret. That older man Derek had seen with her? That was him. Not her new boyfriend. Her abuser. She'd been confronting him with her therapist's help. Trying to break the chain to finally take control of her story. But then Derek happened, she said. She admitted it. She let it happen. Not out of love, but out of self-destruction. I wanted to burn everything down before he could, she said. Because deep down, I didn't think I deserved happiness. I didn't think I deserved you. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I was crying too quietly because I didn't know what else to do. I left, she said, because I thought you'd hate me if you knew. And I couldn't bear to see that look in your eyes. The look you're giving me right now. I shook my head. Jess, I don't hate you. She finally looked at me, eyes wide, vulnerable, hopeful. And I told her the truth. I hate what happened to you. I hate that you thought you had to carry it alone. But I don't hate you. I never could. We sat there, the rain soaking through everything, not even noticing anymore. I'm getting help, she whispered. For real this time. No more hiding. No more secrets. I reached out, took her hand. She flinched at first, but then slowly she let me. And for the first time in months, I saw her smile. Not a full one. Not perfect, but real. We didn't get back together right away. Some wounds need more than time. They need space, healing, honesty. But we talked again, and again, and again. And maybe one day we'll write a new story. But for now, I'm just grateful the truth finally came out. Because the worst part wasn't that she left. The worst part was thinking she didn't love me anymore. And knowing now that she always did, that's what breaks me. And somehow puts me back together.